Hey, how's it going, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be doing a quick Swordsoul Tenny deck profile. Now, just a heads up, this is more of a casual build, so if you're looking for something super competitive, good luck. You're not going to be really finding it here, but if you're looking for something fun to play at locals and do decent with, go and check this build out. Maybe get some ideas from it. That's always the goal with these videos, just to try to help you guys find some cards you can try out. But yeah, go ahead and leave a like and subscribe if you do enjoy the video, and comment down below your favorite Swordsoul or Tenny card. For me, it's going to have to be in the extra deck, and it's going to be the Sinister Sovereign. This guy just looks crazy. But alright, let's go and get into the deck profile here. Starting off with your starter, Moye. This card is really awesome to see, especially when they don't have interruptions like Imperm or Veiler. You just reveal a Worm monster or Swordsoul card, sorry. You reveal one of those and you spawn a token, and the token is a tuner, of course, and you can get into your Synchro 8s, usually Shishao, to get a search, and then when this is used for a Synchro material, you get to draw a card. Really amazing. You get the plus, and you get a Synchro monster. It's just, this deck is really fun to play, truly is. Really glad I did pick it up, and it's super cheap right now, so you can definitely get it for a good price. Next, we got the Strategist. Now this is your extender. You discard a Worm or Swordsoul card, and you spawn a token. This guy gets you into your Synchro 10 plays, of course your Sinister Sovereign, and so on and so on, maybe even Baron de Fleur, stuff like that. Very awesome. Then you can mess around with this ratio for the Ecclesia. I run 3, I just like seeing it, but some people do run it at 2. So either way, you can tribute this card from the field to special summon a Swordsoul card or Fallen Valbaz card. So you can kind of mix the two decks together, maybe? I don't know, maybe someone's tried that out. It seems pretty interesting, because Fallen Valbaz has always been a crazy card just to fusion summon, especially using your opponent's monsters. So maybe side one would be kind of a cool tech I might mess around with later on down the road. And then another really cool effect for this is if your opponent controls Worm monsters, then you do get a special summon. So it's another pretty good starter. Then we have 2 of the Swordsoul Taya, kind of the brick of the deck, but you kind of need it. It's more for the mid game. You banish a Worm or Swordsoul card, and you get to spawn a token. Usually you'll synchro for the Baxia in the extra deck to spin 2 cards back to your, or from your opponent's field back to the deck, which is very strong. Gets rid of a lot of problematic cards. Very fun to go into. And since Taya is a wind and the token is a water, you're gonna go ahead and get to spin back 2, which is really nice. That will do it for the Swordsoul engine for the main deck monsters. Next, for the hand traps, we got just the 3 Ash Blossom and Joy Spring. Now, a lot of people like running a heavy lineup, but I've been cutting back on the hand traps because I've been seeing them way too much, and I just usually go to local events, so they're not as impactful as if you're going to a huge event. So keep that in mind. You can definitely run more hand traps if you feel the need to. Next, 3 Ashuna for the Tenny package. This is really nice. Special summon it if you control only normal monsters or no monsters. Then you can banish it if you control a normal monster from the graveyard or hand, and special summon a Tenny. You can definitely mess around with the ratios on all these Tenny monsters. I run the at heart at 3 as well. Tuner, and you can banish it to add one of your banished Worm cards back to your hand if you control a normal monster. Then 2 Vishuda, the best of the Tennys in my opinion, just because you can banish it if you control a normal monster and bounce one of your opponent's cards back to the hand. So very nice way to get rid of problematic cards, and just one of the better Tennys in my opinion. That'll do it for the Tenny monsters. Next, we got the best spell for the Swordsoul, and that is Emergence. You always want to try to see this. This gets you any Swordsoul monster. Very nice. And if you control a synchro monster, you can add a worm instead. Then if it's banished, you can decrease or increase one of your monster's levels by 1, which can help for synchro summon plays, which is pretty cool. Then 2 vessel for the dragon cycle, pretty cool. Send a worm, and if you have a non-effect monster, you can add Tenny from your hand, which is very nice. 2 pop desires for that draw power. Some people run 3, I do like it at 2. Might mess around with the ratios later on down the road, but 2 seems fine for right now. And 2 cards you don't really see too often in the main deck anymore, and that's Twin Twisters. Just at my local events specifically, I do run into a lot of back row and stuff like that, so I like to try to keep a main deck out to it. Next for the one-ofs, we have the Heavenly Dragon. Then we have the Swordsoul Summit. 2 very good cards. You can mess around with the ratios. I've seen some builds where they run 2 of the Heavenly, but 1 and 1 seems pretty good for right now. And then for the last spell, you gotta play it, Called by the Grave. This can save you in a lot of situations. I really wish this card would come back to 2 at least. I mean, decks are so crazy nowadays. I mean, Called by the Grave really wouldn't be that bad at 2. That'll do it for the spell lineup, and for the rest of the deck, the traps of course. I run a kind of a bigger trap lineup than most decks, but 3 Imperm and 2 Solemn Strikes with the 1 Blackout. I just like Strike. If you set it up and you have all your monster negates and so on and so on, Strike is just a win more card, so I do like playing that, but you can definitely take it out and run different options. For the extra deck, really quickly, it's going to be pretty standard. The Yazi and the Baxi for the 2 Yingxing monsters. Baxi has the great, like really great, just shuffle cards back. The best in my opinion out of the 2. I hardly ever go into Yazi, but it's cool to have in the deck. Then we have the 2 Shishao. This gets you a search and just helps you extend your plays, so very nice. 1 Dragite for a spell and trap negate. 1 Draco Berserker. I've went into that a few times. Very nice. Banish a monster when it activates its effects, and if you destroy a monster, you gain the attack of that destroyed monster, and it can make a second attack on a monster, which is really cool. I did think you were able to attack directly, but luckily my opponent did point out that I was misplaying, and luckily we were able to restore game state, but still overall a really strong card. 1 Savage and 1 Xiaofeng. Then of course the Sinister Sovereign, very solid card. Baron Dufleur and the Supreme, and then 2 Monk of the Tenny, 1 Shaman, and just 1 Unicorn. Very small link lineup. Can definitely take out possibly the Boroload and run something else in the link spot, but usually you're not going to go into too many links. Unicorn is just there for kind of a extra option to spin back a monster. But yeah, hopefully you guys did enjoy, and maybe this has helped out in some way, maybe gave you an idea on some cards to run. This deck list is relatively standard, not too many different cards besides the Twin Twisters and the Strikes and stuff like that. But yeah, hopefully you guys do check this deck out and have some fun playing it. Again, I really do enjoy it. But yeah, until next time, I'll see you guys later.